I am a pastor and I am a mother. I have never in the history of the world found where religion, that is Christianity, the Muslim, the traditional religion, where the culture, where even the law, the constitution meet at one place and say, this is the wrong thing. In this country, it is not lawful for a man to marry a man. It is not lawful for a woman to marry a woman. Constitutionally, it is not legal. And I am just asking myself, when we get ourselves into this space, Africa is not ready for that. We have our own culture. We have our own religion. We have our own direction. And I think it is time we come out and speak seriously and debate about this thing. And when you hear us speaking about this, we want to have a thriving Africa. Because when a man marries a man, what do they produce? And when a woman marries a woman, what do they produce? I think we must go by the divine order. When the divine order is obeyed, it is only that time that a community and a society can thrive.
Well, remember on Friday, religious leaders went to the streets to protest against LGBTQ and accused the Supreme Court judges of being compromised to allow the ungodly relationship. Meanwhile, Catholic bishops last week traveled to the Vatican to meet the Pope top on the agenda, including the gay issues. Well, the Pope had earlier said he might allow priests to bless gay unions.
Sisi ni Wakristo, kuna Wahindi hapa, kuna Waislamu hapa. Na sote tunakuja pamoja kama wazazi. Na tunasema ya kwamba tumekataa mambo ya ushoga. Lakini leo hii pia tunakasirishwa na jambo lingine. Ya kwamba hawa watu wameingia katika mashule zetu. Hawa watu wameenda katika mitaani kwetu na wanafundisha comprehensive sexuality education. Wao kukuwa na ngono msichana na msichana, kijana na kijana. Je, wazazi tunakubali? Lakini tunataka kusema hivi, tunajua ya kwamba CS wa health amekataa hii maneno, lakini chini yake kuna watu ambao wana nia mbaya. Tunataka kumuuliza comprehensive health education ambayo mmesema itakuwa compulsory, ina nini ndani? Maana
Now, well, the Bible is very clear that we ought to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. That call has been made, or rather has been so important as it is now, just a day after Hamas militants launched a bold attack on Israel that saw close to 300 Israelites killed. Hezbollah has earlier today launched artillery into Israel, forcing the Israelites to hit back. Well, overnight, Israel launched strikes overnight Israel launched strikes into Gaza, flooding Hamas towers. Hamas says more than 300 people have also been killed in that specific area. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned that the perpetrators of the violence will pay a hefty price. He is one of the Israeli generals explaining exactly what happened.
Unfortunately, Hamas, as you say, they carry out cowardly attacks and then they hide beneath their civilians, and we have no choice, given the situation that we've been put in, to go after them. They have put their civilians in risk. They started this war, and all responsibility for everything that happens in Gaza, including their civilians, is on their shoulders. We cannot carry this out with one arm tied behind our back. This is a new reality. This is on a scale that has never happened before. This is barbarism at its greatest, and we know that they want to continue this barbarism. There's a bloodthirst here that has to be stopped, and we are going to do whatever it takes to stop that. And the world needs to understand, because we know our moral compass is clean. The world needs to know that Hamas's moral compass points to hell. That is where they derive all of their energy and all of their guidance. It is about destruction, destroying the state of Israel, destroying Jews, destroying democracy. It is a typical jihadi outlook, and everything has to be done in order to stop that. Now the entire world clearly sees what Hamas is made of and the barbarism that they're made of. We will never become Hamas. We will carry this out in the Israeli way, which is a pinpoint moral way. What that means is this can take a long period of time. If we wanted to, everybody knows the IDF's military might. If we were like them and had no recognition of civilians, this could be over in a matter of hours. However, we do. And therefore, this is going to be carried out over time with pinpoint strikes, with intelligence, with causing the minimal amount of civilian casualties as possible, while going after every person in Hamas in their command-making structure and that was involved in this and taking them out. And the reality is that Israel pays a price for this, but it's a price that we're willing to pay because we know our moral compass, and that's who we stand by. We never want to imagine that we are putting more people at risk by doing this, but we know in terms of being a moral army and not just obliterating Gaza from the air, because that's not what we do, that this is a situation that we pay in order to do moral.
Now taking a look on today's daily, starting with the Daily Nation, falling apart. Well, Ruto and Gachagua in a back and forth over shareholding, the ongoing current politics. Cracks President Ruto, this is what he says: it's primitive and backward for anybody to imagine that any region of Kenya cannot get development on account of how they voted. That is incorrect. And DP's Tech, those who joined us late should not expect much at the expense of Kenya Kwanza loyalists. We will continue giving good jobs to those who stood with us from the beginning. Well, this is quite interesting. Kenya Kwanza leaders appear to be reading from different scripts. Remember, DP, during his visits to the Mount Kenya region, he's continually stated that they are together. There is no difference between him and President William Ruto. Now, but remember also, this has been taking center stage, especially during President William Ruto's visit to the Nyanza region starting on Friday. He's been insisting that it is now time to develop each and every part of the country. We will not talk about discrimination, but now DP also states that those who came late will have to wait until those who've been loyalists are rewarded. Well, while President William Ruto has maintained that his administration will not discriminate against any part of the country because of political differences, DP Gachagua has been unapologetic that the interests of those who voted for the ruling alliance come first. Well, how is this going to divide the two top leaders in the country? Well, and is this going to be the politics going around in a better part of this time? And will President William Ruto soon return to the Mount Kenya region to still tell them he still supports the agenda of the deputy president? Well, we're waiting to see how that goes on. And one of the greatest news that Kenya got yesterday, Kiptum's road to greatness. Well, Kenya's Kelvin Kiptum celebrates after winning the 2023 Bank of America Chicago Marathon in Chicago, Illinois yesterday in a world record time of 2 hours and 35 seconds, lowering the previous record of 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 hours, 1 minute and 9 seconds, held by compatriot Eliud Kipchoge. Well, that is quite interesting, and congratulations to Kelvin Kiptum. Now it is time to maintain that. Eliud Kipchoge has really made a name for himself, and also he made the country proud. Until that, he is known as one of the greatest marathoners the world has ever had. Now it is Kiptum's time to also make the country shine. Well, congratulations to the good job. Inside governors fight for roads, billions. Well, the fight for control over nearly 100 billion shillings collected by the Kenya Roads Board, KRB, from the fuel levy annually has emerged as the new battlefront between governors and the national government that has threatened to spill to the courts. We'll be waiting to see how that will turn out. 84.5 billion Kenya shillings what Kenya Roads Board collected from fuel levy in 2020-2021 financial year. Now the counties want to control those, or rather that much, which is close to 100 billion Kenya shillings. And Ruto seeks to end Raila's stronghold on Nyanza. That was on Matters Politics. President William Ruto's 4-day Nyanza tour that ends today marks the most rigorous exercise in ODM leader Raila Odinga's backyard, with the head of state looking to end the opposition leader's 18-year dominance of the region. Now, remember that on Saturday, the leader of minority in the National Assembly, that is Opio and I, said that if William Ruto, the president, is looking for political support from Nyanza region, he must and should go through the ODM leader Raila Odinga, and stating that as the leaders of ODM and Azimio, they will be steadfast on that. Then that begs the question, is this kind of politics going to end, the tribal politics? Are we going to still look at who is our leader, or rather who is our tribal representative? Are we going to still stick on such kind of politics, or are we going to now go to the diverse kind of politics of looking at the agenda, looking at exactly what you have to say? Remember, the Luo Nyanza has been Odinga's staff for quite some years. According to what is written here, is 18 years dominance. Now, Odinga has been on the ballot for quite some time. The politics of his succession has also taken center stage just a few weeks ago, with his own brother, Oburu Odinga, insinuating that Opio and I might be the next person taking from Odinga. But then, is Odinga ready to go home on retirement from politics, active politics? Well, we're also waiting to see how that will turn out. Remember, these are some of the issues we've been talking about over and over again on Matters State of the Nation, taking a look on the Matters Politics, or rather the trajectory our country's politics has been taking right there. And hundreds killed and thousands injured in fighting between Israel and Palestine. Well, fighting between Israeli forces and the Palestinian militant group Hamas raged yesterday, with hundreds killed on both sides after a surprise attack on Israel prompted Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to warn they were embarking on a long and difficult war. Well, we do hope they will find an amicable way to end such kind of conflict, which is leading to deaths of hundreds in those two nations. And today's The Standard. Broke millionaires. Doing business with government can be lucrative, but in some occasions the money has always been on paper. With pending bills running into hundreds of billions, government suppliers are regretting their business decisions to wade into the tender business. Well, at the moment I don't even know what my fate. I'm now waiting for the creditors to come and take the remaining things that I have. Reina Nano won NYS tender. Now she's saying that the tender is only on paper. The money is only on paper, but it has not been translated into his, or rather her bank account. She's now waiting for the payment. That is months later. If a new governor comes into office today, forget that money. We have suffered the most because of a regime change and you are reduced to nothing. Simon Gichuki, Secretary General of the Association of Public Suppliers, now stating that you supply county governments after that the specific regime goes home, then a new governor comes into office, a whole new leadership comes into office. You forget about your payment. Remember, you've supplied, but then you have to forget about that. Well, it's quite painful. Now, how best can such an issue be addressed? Do we need a system to ensure that governors are able to be held accountable before they leave office? They clear such backlog, making sure that all the suppliers and tenders have been handled accordingly, and the specific tenderpreneurs have been paid. Well, now simply the best Kiptum new marathon record holder, still on that. I remember he did beat Eliud Kipchoge's time by getting 2 hours and 35 seconds flat, and Kipchoge's time was 2 hours 1 minute and 9 seconds. Well, congratulations to the young man. Will Ruto excel in Nyanza, where many have failed? Now, this is also taking on matters politics. Remember, the president is actively moving around Odinga's political turf, that is Luo Nyanza, and the entire Nyanza, including Kisii County. Now, will Ruto excel in Nyanza? That is quite a good question. Remember, many have tried to penetrate, including the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta also tried, but Nyanza has proved to be Odinga's turf for quite some time, and also now we are waiting to see if also Odinga, either during campaigns, that is 2027, he will also succeed with Ruto's turf, that is the counties of Bomet, Kericho, Uasin Gishu County, and Elgeyo Marakwet, among a few. Now, Israel faces long, difficult war with Hamas. That is basically what is ongoing in Israel, and we're waiting to see how that will turn out to be. Now, remember, after the Prime Minister of Israel declared war against Hamas to make sure that they restore respect and also peace. Remember, many have been left dead as at now, just a few days since the war began. How hysteria manifests in adolescents, that is basically captured in page 16, while Okasa Yambongo can't rest in peace, also captured on page 23, matters music and entertainment right there. And today's The Star, Ruto succession battle threatens unity in rift. At the center of struggle is fighting for president's hair for the 2032 general polls. Well, it's interesting, just 1 year in office now, people have also started thinking of 2032, and they're bringing it out verbally, or rather vocally. Now, supremacy wars, possible successors include CS Murkomen and Senator Aaron Cheruiyot. Well, the two have really proven to be, you know, for you to win the hearts of your people, and also to be their main representative, it takes courage. And CS Murkomen has really placed himself in a quite some good position. I remember also Senator Aaron Cheruiyot came in just recently into this national politics, and is also one of those people who've been fronted. We're waiting to see how that will turn out. Remember, the two are also strong, equally strong, with CS Murkomen just serving his first time as a CS, despite having served as a senator for Elgeyo Marakwet County. Now, the picture of the day right there, KWS team do the heavy lifting of as they load a buffalo into a truck. Well, that is on matters conservancy. Now, Ruto fires warning shot at cartels as he moves to save sugar industry in Nyanza. He said that it is now time to revive the sleeping engines in those specific sugar industry, and make sure that we are able to revive some of these economic drivers in Nyanza region. Hundreds of senior police officers moved as new transfer policy takes effect. that was on matters, the reforms presented to President William Ruto early last week by the Maraga-led team. Elegant woman Nguviu Secondary School celebrates headmistress 47 years after leaving school. Well, quite interesting that they now come back to celebrate their headmistress. This is quite a milestone. I'm pretty sure she must have left a great impact to their lives for them to come back and celebrate that specific lady right there. Now, well, that marks the end of our newspaper review. We shall be taking a short break, but we'll be right back with our today's discussion. Remember, this nation has highlighted a very important bit falling apart, that is between President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua over the shareholding issue. Well, we shall be dwelling on that and also taking a look on Ruto's tour to Nyanza region, and also what Opiyo Wandayi, the minority leader in the National Assembly, had to say with specific regards to Ruto's tour to the Nyanza region.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
From Nairobi, Kenya, this is EBN TV.
I believe we are eager to do what is good in our day-to-day activities when we realize where we came from. You know where you came from. You know where the grace of God found you. And therefore I believe we are eager to do what is good and acceptable will of God in your life. I believe I'm talking to brethren, to people who knows that they have a responsibility as believers, not to enjoy that I'm born again, I'm going to heaven. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. It is good to go to heaven. Bwana Yesu asifiwe as a person, but you are to declare the praises of God to others. Amen. Bwana Yesu asifiwe.
From the 1st of October on EBN TV.
Ninakuja nikwambie mpendwa that all of us have had an encounter with the glory of God.
And every other Sunday from 11 a.m. join Bishop John Kitonga and the Redeemed Gospel Church Huruma family for in-depth teaching and preaching of the word.
Ayubu nilingoja akuwe na hasira sana, akuwe kama vile Elijah alisema, kasema hata afadhali nife alipokuwa anafukuzwa na Jezebel.
And who can forget the praise and worship? Every Sunday from 11 a.m. only on EBN TV.
Hello, praise the Lord. My name is Pastor Joseph Musajawaza of Unfailing Love Ministries. I'm inviting you every Wednesday to join us on our program, Victory Through the Word. In this program, we teach you God's Word. We teach you to find solutions and answers to the struggles of life through the Word of God. Everything you ever go through in life, every pain, every tear, every worry, and every questions that you may ever have in this life. You may not get answers out there, but in God's Word, there are answers and there is a solution. The Bible says that God has exalted his word above his name. In his word, there is hope. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but his word will always remain abide. I encourage you, engage with us as we study together, as you ask your questions, and let your questions be answered as you are built and as you hear God's word. Our church is located in Umoja, Inako, near Olobon Hotel, just off Sango Stage along Moi Drive, and the court is known as Church Court. Give us a visit and your life will not remain the same. God bless you. Let's meet every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. only on EBN television.
Walisema mnywa maji kwa mkono mmoja,
kiu yake ipo pale pale. Ndiposa tumekuletea wewe mtazamaji wetu
mkono mwingine, ili kukata kiu yako na ari yako ya ufahamu.
Naam, ngoma imechezwa mtazamaji, basi hatuna budi kulisakata na kukuletea wewe ufahamu wa kaunti yako,
tukiangazia masuala ya siasa na uongozi,
jamii na itikadi,
maendeleo na changamoto katika kaunti yako. Ungana nami Belinda William,
nami Emmanuel Marwa
kwenye makala ya Gatuzi Langu kila siku ya Jumatatu saa 5:30 hadi saa 6:30.
In a fast-paced world filled with distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters: your relationship with God. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we take you on a transformative journey of building your faith, without which it's impossible to please God. A journey of introspection and discovery of who you are in Christ Jesus.
For you to walk with God, you should not crumble when you come under pressure. Kama umeokoka, sema umeokoka mpaka mbele ya president, mpaka mbele ya chief justice, mpaka mbele ya kila mtu. Hiyo ndio kuokoka ya ukweli. Kuokoka ya ukweli.
Enjoy a faith-filled environment of worship and ministry of the word every Tuesday and Thursdays from 9 a.m. with Reverend Felix Kevoy, exclusively on EBN TV.
That is the word of the Lord today.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Now, welcome back to the Morning Live. We do want to talk on matters politics, the trajectory that is the country is taking on matters politics, and also some of these decisions that are being made, and also some of the major moves being made by certain leaders, specifically President William Ruto move to Nyanza, and how his 4-day tour is likely to affect Odinga's support. Well, joining me this morning is Muito Mureithi. Good morning and thank you for coming through today. We do hope you are well.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, welcome back. Yeah. Now, we do understand that there is a lot to talk about, especially on matters politics, starting from the crack between President William Ruto and his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua.
Yeah.
Now, Gachagua has been going to Mount Kenya region from when he was in Meru, insisting that as Mount Kenya leaders, we need to come together, we need to work together.
Yes.
Yes. Now, what would be your take with regards to the shareholding that now President William Ruto, while in Nyanza, stated that that is not his focus? It is primitive to look at things that way.
Well, you know, something has been blown out of proportion, and I tend to always see things from the third side of the coin. You know?
Yes.
People have the flip side. They hear what maybe a daily says and what they think, and it's left at that point.
Yes.
But the reality of the matter He is actually on the third side of the coin. And this is what he says. President Ruto is on one side talking about development for all Kenyans, which is not what Gachagua is talking about. Gachagua is talking about leadership in the Kenya Kwanza government. So leadership means certain positions, because when we were going into the campaigns, when Kenyans are going to campaigns, the promises were about positions, but to serve all Kenyans.
Yes, yes.
You get the point? Because the allegiance the office of our presidency holds is to the Kenyans.
Yes.
And so whatever is there is William Ruto, as the President of the Republic of Kenya, is supposed to serve the people of Kenya. And his PA also must actually have a similar focus on matters development, which is what he does. Because the other day he was in Meru, he was in Nyandarua, yesterday he was in Nandi. You know, it's not about really politics or tribal politics, but I don't know why Kenyans, when it comes to after now the battles of tribal blocks, because when we were going for elections, it's always a tribal block.
Yes, yes.
Luo Nyanza go for Raila Odinga like a religion. Western Kenya, maybe parts of Western Kenya goes for Abukusu, and the others go for the other guy. And that's the politics of the region. Today they're calling themselves the Mulembe Nation. Mulembe Nation is not an English word meaning something different, but other than the 9 or 16 tribes of the Luyas coming together. Yes. Luyas, not Luyas with the Kikuyus and Luyas with the Turkanas. It's Luyas. Yes, yes. If it's tribal, then that is also more tribal as any other tribal formation. So what you're saying is, and I always ask, what's the problem with you being a Luo and I being a Kikuyu, choosing to love each other and respect each other just for who we are? It's a matter of choice. Yes. But when it comes to some point where you want to shun the reality, you want to avoid the reality when it's so imminent and glaring, it becomes a problem. Right now, the government in place, it means the politics now have changed. It's no longer that Ruto is not the president of the Republic of Kenya. Yes. He is now the president of the Republic of Kenya. What happens? It's now time for positioning ourselves. Yes. Everybody is going to position himself, and I'm talking about those who are inside the politics of Kenya Kwanza and also the politics of Azimio. They are positioning themselves to fit in a ruling government. Now that the politics of opposition challenge Mandamano is now over, it's now time to position yourselves. Okay, in the name of we want to serve our people. So I will try as much as I can and work with the president. You've been hearing this in places like Nyanza and Western, that we will work with you, it's positioning yourself. Why? For the next elections. Yes. Now, the battles which are happening in, which are being kindled by the guys who abandoned William Ruto, who didn't stand with William Ruto during the campaigns since 2018, are the ones who actually kindling these fires. And they have some dailies that support them, And I keep telling you, I mean, this is politics. Even the papers, there's some media houses. They play this politics, and that neutrality cliche remains a cliche. It's not just something they believe in, being neutral as journalists. But that's what happens. Yes. It's sometimes we need to be true to ourselves. The politics of certain dailies is to please a certain formation of politics. Yes. And so whatever headline you will always get, it will be either in support or contrary. So even looking at the dailies, somebody will talk about Ruto's succession battle. Yes. Another one will talk about falling apart Kenya. Yes. Of course, these are the blocks which formed Ruto's government. Yeah. From Kalenjin, from Mount Kenya, you can't ignore that, because you can't ignore Mount Kenya and talk about Nyanza for William Ruto. But on matters concerning development, we're all taxpayers. Yes. Definitely, we're all taxpayers, and we deserve services from the sitting government. Whether it was Raila Odinga who was elected as the president, he would still serve people of Mount Kenya, much as they didn't elect him. So this is the politics. What people are doing right now is a time for positioning themselves. That's the season. Yes.
Now you're talking about positioning. We've seen that now Mount Kenya, DP is actually the topmost leader from Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
And you know, there's this politics of becoming the kingpin.
Yeah.
Do you think he's up to the task? And now look at the economic blueprint of the Kenya Kwanza government. Is it favoring Mount Kenya? You've been down talking about how Mount Kenya people are concerned more about how they can make money, business.
But when President Uhuru Kenyatta was picked from the dust by Moi, and you know, and elevated to, you know, a pedestal where everybody now could see him, Moi Kibaki's government took over and grooming Uhuru Kenyatta. You remember by 2007, Michuki had already started, you know, he was the right-hand man of Kibaki, and they started grooming Uhuru Kenyatta. So it didn't just come from nowhere.
Yes.
Okay? But Uhuru Kenyatta, whatever tainted his past, it had to be cleaned up, you know. A cleansing had to take place. And he also had to put his feet on the ground, you know. And that is why sometimes you see somebody maybe may apply maybe excessive force or some moderate force to try and stamp your authority, because you've already been put in the position of leadership. And what Gachagua is happening to Gachagua is that there are people who may not like Gachagua by maybe the looks or by anything else that they feel maybe his tone or something. But what he's doing currently is that he is working towards stamping his authority and having his feet on the ground as the leader of Mount Kenya, as proposed by the majority who elected the President William Ruto, because the minority went to Azimio. So the majority of people of Mount Kenya appointed Rigathi Gachagua
as the leader,
the DP as the leader. So the DP will be in constant battles until around 2025. So he's going to fight some battles, because there's some guys also who want to begin to shine after 2027 elections, for the 2022 elections.
Yes.
So definitely they want to ensure that they are in this position. So the push and shove, that will continue in Mount Kenya as much as it is in Azimio currently. You've had Kalonzo Musyoka is ready to go for 2027. Raila Odinga said he's going nowhere. And that means that, but you know, it's only that we can't trust Kalonzo. I don't know how far.
As of now.
As of now, because I don't know how far he's going to go with that home.
Yes.
But we're hoping that he's going to hang in until 2027 with the same ground. However, this is what is happening in Kalenjin community. They will be silenced by William Ruto when they begin to talk about succession at this time.
I'm coming there.
But with them, they will begin in 2027.
Yes. Yeah. Let's talk about Gachagua. You've talked about Michuki having held Uhuru Kenyatta's hand back then, and all this kind of politics that you need to have someone holding your hand.
Yes.
But then we've seen Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua coming. People say he came from nowhere, but then looking at his past, you know, being a Madeira Member of Parliament, then he went for this seat and he was able to convince a majority of you, as you've said. But then you've talked about having someone to hold your hand.
Yeah.
Tell me about a little bit about DP's hand person.
1998, President Moi picked Uhuru Kenyatta. 2002, he was the presidential candidate. And he was picked, given local government ministry and you know, other responsibilities, in a rush, at least to befit the position, so that by 2022, Moi would have had somebody he had in mind, and that was Uhuru Kenyatta. So he made sure that he elevated him. Rigathi Gachagua is a man who's fought his way through.
Yes.
Remember the time when we were waiting for the white smoke in the meetings with Kindiki Kithure and William Ruto,
yes,
who is actually going to deputize me. That is His Excellency William Ruto. And we waited, you know, and Rigathi Gachagua was approved or appointed, based on certain credentials, and that is what Rigathi Gachagua rode on. His track record as Madeira MP was good. Yes. He did some good service to the people of Madeira, and so he came from somewhere. It took 5 years. Uhuru took 4 years to become a candidate, you know, though he failed. But Rigathi took 5 years to become a deputy president. So what's the big deal? that's the question.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. When things are blown out of proportion, we begin to think like there's something new they're saying. But let me tell you, when Coca-Cola, when you talk soda, the image that comes to the mind is not even Sprite, Fanta, or Highland.
Yes.
It's Coca-Cola,
yes.
the black soda. Excuse me. Same thing. When you talk about what is this? When you talk about I've lost it with the cough. I wanted to say when we talk about a daily. Thank you. When we talk about a newspaper, it has been a paper like maybe Daily Nation. It has been there long enough. Standard has been there long enough. Not even the Star. But what the images that come to your mind when you mention Kenyan Daily,
yes.
one comes Daily Nation.
Yes.
You know, somehow they position themselves somewhere where they can be seen, and they have now been believed by some people, taken as a form of, religion. They speak a deity. They say it becomes,
Yes.
and you can see every media house is doing their political analysis based on a small mind of a writer.
Yes.
The Daily Nation. I'm not talking about a small mind. I mean, you can write the similar thing if you're on that ground. But because it is full blown, it looks like something that is must have been coming from a unique mind, more intelligent than any other mind. So that is what happens. So anything that is spoken about by these people called from Daily Nation or Standard, which are the big dailies,
yes.
somebody thinks, I mean, this must be the ultimate. And I'm not fighting them. I'm only saying what there is. You ask me to read a newspaper, I'll first check the Daily Nation or whatever. Yes. But I'm trying to get delivered from that mentality because I know that Star has a story.
Yes.
Star has a story. And I can tell you this because when I was marketing the Star, when it was still young with Radio Africa, I sought for the strong points because I was selling the Star as the alternative daily that will give you the other story that you will not hear from the competing dailies, and which is obvious. You will discover that any story you get from the Star is like it's balancing what you've heard from this other side and this other side. It's like watching TVN, TVB that we know, and watching EBN balances what you're looking at. And that's how it works.
Yeah.
So this is politics, and this is business in politics.
Yes, definitely. Now you see, the Star itself, the one you're talking about, has highlighted supremacy wars, possible successors, including C.S. Murkomen and Senator Aaron Cheruiyot for Rutos.
Yes.
And remember how Murkomen came into politics, then as a senator. Aaron Cheruiyot, he managed to become the senator of Kericho. Things went so quickly for Senator Aaron Cheruiyot specifically. We've seen Murkomen there. He's been a little bit in politics before, Cheruiyot.
Yes.
Now, the two of them, from where I sit, I've observed them. They do have some muscle to handle the Kalenjin nation, to be Ruto's success has. But then, from where you sit, you've looked at both of them. Being the representative of the Kalenjin nation, you need to have muscle, just like Deputy President William Ruto. Despite intimidations and all that, then, President William Ruto has been able to maintain the side of politics and also the side of a statesman. Now, looking at the two of them, from where you sit, what are some of the odds of C.S. Murkomen or Aaron Cheruiyot?
Well, I have not seen them fighting openly, as in who is who, in the Kalenjin community. But one thing I know for sure is that the loudest is the one who gets the largest share. So they are fighting. They are within the process of shouting. Who is even more close to the president? Like the way you see some people trying to fit in that red carpet. You show the president because you still want to see your left foot or your right foot on the carpet. These are the kind of games that are going on in Rift Valley. But like I told you, this will be silenced very soon by His Excellency the President for Rift Valley. So they will tone down and still have their battles underneath going on. What will happen is that they will coin a language that will be talking about 2032. And talking about 2032, it means any competitor is that it is outright, Ruto will take over 2027. You know, that's also playing with the mind. So this politics will continue, but in the Rift Valley, the supremacy battle, that one will begin in 2027, 28 there, because they've seen what happens with the Kikuyus community. After Uhuru Kenyatta left, they also wanted to have a new leader, you know, take mantle. Yes. That is what is going to happen after William Ruto is planning to vacate the seat, maybe in 2027 or 2032, because fate is known after all is done.
Now, interesting, you know, we've seen, might we see the repeat of 2022 in 2032, where Uhuru Kenyatta, who had promised to support William Ruto, decided to support Odinga?
You know, they say once bitten, twice shy. Kenyans have seen this kind of politics, and it's not about Rigathi Gachagua. It's about the people who have seen this kind of politics taking place. And that's why you see, even after a reshuffle took place, some leaders in Mount Kenya went and sat down to see whether it's malicious or it's just a matter of reshuffle for development. And they concluded it's reshuffle for development, because every position in government is meant for any person qualified or deemed fit for whatever position by the president. And it is for the service to the people. And so they agreed is no issue. That's why you don't hear it anywhere. Okay? Now that cannot sell in the headlines. That is a very is a meeting that is not viable. Yeah, it has no money in it. So definitely it couldn't find the first page.
Yes.
But they met, they discussed, they saw, okay, this is not politics of 2027. It's like now, once the politics to water down what rift this paper is speculating, the falling apart. William Ruto is on one side talking about development, and it's very clear.
Yes.
Okay, it's only for those who have insight to see, and those who want to listen and understand. And Rigathi Gachagua is talking about positions. Yeah, it is obvious if you come from out there. You see, even in a company, corporate, if you get somebody from, let's say, another media house, and you bring him to EBN, no matter how good he is, he must undergo something we call orientation.
Definitely.
So you don't just come and take over and take up. Your allegiance to EBN must be seen, must be something that is undoubted.
Yes.
And so that is how it works. Okay, even in politics. So you just don't think I'll come out as Jeremiah Kioni and just come and become the Minister for Foreign Affairs for the Kenya Kwanza government. That's what Rigathi Gachagua is talking about. So don't salivate for such positions. They're already taken up. Okay, but you can come and work with us. You know, but on matters concerning development, every MP who is complaining and would like to be in the Kenya Kwanza government, they have 140 million shillings to be accountable for. To Kenyans, the constituents they represent. But do you think this is a palatable story for them? That is what the Daily Nation, the Star, the Standard would be highlighting. Hey guys, let's see what you have to say about the 140 million Kenya shillings you always get for the sake of the Kenyans. Now leave positions alone. Let's be accountable and transparent on the 140. Let's see what it does with you. You know, because somebody as Azimio will make people assume that we are not even in the money basket, okay? But they have 140 million shillings on the table to, you know, see how it serves the people of Kenya. I mean, it services the needs of the constituents. So that is what I'm saying. It just depends on the focus the media house takes. And let me tell you something. When I was working in the media house, and I'll tell you, we are not so clean as journalists. Some stories are just paid up something small. Yende mkakunywe chai, alafu hiyo story yende hivyo. Then so and so gets the story, goes to whoever, and a story comes out. Kenyans must know that is how it is. That some stories are just paid up for. Yeah, toa hivyo, wacha ikuwe hivi. You know, which is not right. We must be true to ourselves.
Now, interesting. Let's talk about matters cabinet reshuffle. We now saw that Alfred Mutua lost his ministry, which was shifted to Mudavadi, taking over as the Minister of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, was now merged together with the current minister, that is Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. Yes. And we also saw Moses Kuria being moved from the Ministry of Trade. Yeah. And now it has taken center stage on matters politics. Yeah. That, hey guys, it is not about William Ruto reducing our positions. And we also saw Nyeri Governor Mutahi noting that those positions that you people, you CS from Mount Kenya region, you need to know that those positions are ours, not yours. You're just there as a representative. Absolutely. It is okay, but then we've seen that Mudavadi now has more roles. Yes. Does it position him in a good level to either, you know, people are now saying he might be the next deputy president?
You know, no matter how, whichever aspect you take, when it comes to politics and come elections, it's what you bring to the table. And unlike the times of Moi when he was to hand pick yes. The person who does it, currently, even if the formers were there, they would find themselves negotiating because the systems of the day demand that you negotiate with the people who are going to give you the big support. Yes. Because if they shift their allegiance to another person, then you're done. Simple as that. Because we talk about the 4.7 million votes from Kenya, and you know, you toy around with it. Definitely, no matter how strong you may be, you can lose it if you go by, you know, by the real, you know, statistics in voting, in elections, during electoral time, election moment. So what I'm trying to say here is that the politics currently taking place falling apart of the president. Beg your pardon. What's your question again? I'm getting distractions.
Oh,
from I think I need to.
On matters, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi.
Prime Cabinet Secretary,
having been given more responsibility.
Now, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, as we call him, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, is still not a position in the Constitution. So it has no life in terms of protection, except for now the ministry that is being given of Foreign Affairs. So as it stands, he may be given the responsibilities of taking charge as the head cabinet minister, a position like the one former Matiang'i held. But the deputy president may not be in such big competition because he's acting as the PA to the president, and he also has responsibilities handed to him by the president. So what we're looking at here is that somebody would like to view it because, you know, Musalia Mudavadi, from his background, he had also held a bigger position as a former deputy president, vice president to President Moi. So definitely, and also first deputy prime minister in the Kibaki government after 2007. So definitely, when he comes again to the limelight, somebody would like to groom him also for a bigger, better position. Yes. And that is what is happening. So if you want something to be seen, you must hype it. And what is happening now, the politics of fighting Rigathi Gachagua, because Rigathi Gachagua has been stunned on his position. We want the soft-spoken Musalia Mudavadi to now come up, you know, as somebody who can be the ideal deputy to President William Ruto come 2027, because he has a right to drop Rigathi Gachagua or drop Mount Kenya and go for Western, you know. And when I talk about this, is because politics is about the bloc. Yes. So if he opts to go Rift Valley, Mount Kenya will have to position itself in other ways. So that is the politics of the time. So with Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi taking up the Foreign Affairs Ministry, that is the only legitimate position that he has in terms of the law. Yeah, but in terms of politics, he's almost equated to a checkmate to the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting. Now we've seen William Ruto touring Nyanza region, Luo Nyanza to be specific, the 4 counties, Siaya, Homa Bay, Kisumu, Migori. And now many are asking, will he succeed where many have failed? Remember, Odinga has been in control of Luo Nyanza for a number of years now.
Yeah.
And we've seen his approach has been slightly different. He goes in with matters development, nothing else. I'm not going to politicking. All I'm going to do is tell them the truth as I focus on development. Is it a way to win their hearts?
You know, getting the minds of people from Nyanza, from seeing Baba as their father. You know, Baba as their father is unlike somebody in Mount Kenya or any other region calling Baba, Baba. To them is because maybe he's elderly in politics and blah, 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 blah. So it's just, if another elder comes around, then that we'll still have another Baba around, you know. But in Luo Nyanza, Baba is a religion. Baba is a tradition. Now getting that mentality out of the minds of those people, because it's not, you're not fighting the politics of the vote. In Nyanza, you're fighting the minds. If you don't overcome that mind, and it doesn't happen one-off, it's something that will take a process. Ruto might do too much, so many things for the people to begin to transform and begin to see things from a different perspective. Because the way they embrace it is like, I mean, he has said it. He is. This is who he is to us, you know. And that's very hard for him to just deal with, you know, freebies and bodies. So he knows too well. And William Ruto is a smart politician, the president. He knows too well. I don't need 100% allegiance from the people of Luo Nyanza. If I can succeed to get 30 or 40%, I'd be good for the Kenyan politics. If he gets 30% in Luo Nyanza and gets 60% in Western and gets 70% in Mount Kenya, then gets 100% in Rift Valley, there's no one who can beat him. That's a landslide. And that's the kind of calculations His Excellency the President has taken. And he has to work on it. Because this is about his ambitions. It's a matter of 2022, yes, they are good. Yes, this is what we agreed. But you must also work. You must show the determination to serve in the government to accomplish his mission. Because it's about his mission now.
2027. Yes. So smoothly while delivering. Now, we've seen that Meru politics has really taken a different turn of events with now religious leaders noting that we are not taking in what DP Gachagua is saying and other leaders like Moses Kuria, that we should not involve, or rather the president should not involve himself with Meru politics. We need national leaders to come in. Let's address this issue. It is no longer a Meru leadership issue. We need to address it from that perspective. Let's also involve national leaders. And religious leaders, they held a prayer service at Kawira Mwangaza's home on Saturday, and they were insisting we need the president to come in to help us resolve this issue, the stalemate between our governor, Kawira Mwangaza, and the deputy governor.
No, sometimes it bothers me. This is politics. The people of Meru want development, they want service. Who's talking? Is it the people of Meru, or is it some leaders who are trying to position themselves, make some relevance, make some sense, you know, to the Kenyan politics? These are people who have isolated themselves, they want to play their politics. And that's why they do not see themselves going to the people who voted in Kawira Mwangaza and consult with them. That's what they should be doing. Public barazas, go meet the people, ask them, what do you want us to do with the governor? If the governor is wrong or something. But I don't believe Kawira Mwangaza is like that. I think it's only that they never expected she would become the governor.
That is what she has been insisting.
Yeah, they never expected she would become the governor. They thought it's just a joke. Then all of a sudden, it happened. It's like the way they never expected William Ruto would come through as the head of state. You remember, totally saying that, you know, the traps and the strategy that we had, we thought you would not overcome those snares. But here you are. you become the president. You know, some of these things, they happen. And I can tell you, don't never rule out the divine interventions, you know, sometimes. Because you're telling God something, I'm telling God something, somebody else is saying something to God. And they get their prayers answered. Kalonzo Musyoka had this luck in 2007. He just came from nowhere and in the middle and became the second guy. Yes. It won't happen again, you know. God is not short of ideas, so it won't happen again. It's only Kalonzo Musyoka who thinks that he will do that again, second time. That's why he plays that kind of, ish politics. Yes. He does not know whether to be blue or red or yellow green. You know, he does not want to take a stand. However, this politics in Meru is denying the Meru people development. What they're being handed by the greedy politicians is just politics. And the development will continue lagging in Meru. Okay? And let me tell you something. There's some things that I had Kawira insisting at some point on, you know, they can do the Mira farming, but at the same time they can do other things. Let me tell you, Mira is a drug. Definitely, because somehow it causes some form of hallucination. And if I have a community that gets hallucinated, if I am a man with bad intentions, I would keep them in that business. But if I want them to change, I would give alternatives. And that's what many people need right now. And this is what is going to change the community. Politics aside, let them do the service for the people. Now, fighting Kawira, it means the 4, 5, 6, 10 billion that is given to the office of the governor is not working. Yeah, it's not working for them. You know, while you enjoy the entertainment on TV by a few politicians who are insulting each other, you're losing as the Meru people. It's time for the Meru people now to stand and tell them, hey, shut up. We need this. You know, our school needs this. Education, we need this. Our health sector needs this. We need somebody who's going to make things run. So can you allow Kawira Mwangaza to do her work? We haven't even seen what she can do. We started impeachment long before. It is now, this is the second attempt. In her seat, yeah. But let me tell you, like I told you the other day, Martin Wambora, they built him with the battles they brought to him. Yes. Because come the second term, they didn't vote for him because he campaigned too much. They were already sympathetic. They were wondering, why are you guys beating this guy? I think it's time to see what he does, what he can do. Kawira Mwangaza might go full terms because of the kind of politics they're bringing in, you know, because when the women now pour all their sympathy on Kawira Mwangaza, in Meru, they say, no, mnaumiza mama wetu. When that politics begin, my friend, yes. They are gone. It's until 2032. 2032. Yeah. 10 good years. They should wait, they should actually, tone it down and begin to, you know, work for their interest as Meru people. Yes. Yeah. And do you think it's now good that President William Ruto should also come in and help resolve that? He didn't kindle the fire. I told you it's between the leaders of Meru. Why do you want to make this place dirty and expect me to come and clean it up? It's up to you to clean it up. It's a responsibility. They're grown-ups. Meru people should sit down. The leaders should sit down and agree to disagree and move on. Yeah. They should stop the kind of politics that has been ongoing. The person who is suffering is the Meru constituents. Are the ones who are suffering. Yes, and we also saw that immediately after Anne Waiguru was elected in to serve as the chairperson of the Council of Governors, second term. She stated that it is now time we work around making sure that we raise the threshold of impeaching governors. It's now too easy to impeach a governor because every time we've been seeing these motions coming up and about, and members of county assembly have been taking advantage of governors, making sure that they threaten you if you don't work according to what they want. They want to impeach you. And she gave reference to Meru governor, she gave reference to Nyamira governor, Amos Nyaribo, and all these other cases that have been taking center stage. Now, raising the threshold, would it give governors the ability to just stamp? I think, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think it should be taken away from the MCAs. But if it stays with the MCAs, then they must do something to make it harder for impeachment debates against governors to take place. Because we have discovered that when MCAs have gone against the governor, there's somebody behind them, you know, who is actually sponsoring that kind of a move. And I think this politics is being played, and I think it is time that maybe it's made a bit difficult for them to be kicked out, easily. Yeah. So they should have some form of protection. Yeah.
They should raise the bar a little bit up.
It's important.
Yes. Now we also saw that Kalonzo Musyoka was insisting that no matter what, the cost of living is going up. That will be one of the top issues we will address with regards to the national dialogue.
Yes.
They will first focus on that, then focus on these other 4 issues. But cost of living will have to be top.
You know, Americans are not talking about cost of living. But per se, it's about cost of living when they were trying to compare.
Yes.
Do we channel our energies towards war in Ukraine or towards feeding our people in the US? You know, and that was one of the reasons why the speaker had to be shown the door for supporting, the direction of the war. You know, what you're trying to say is that every country is crying. You go to Canada, it's not the same as we think that these people. I saw at some point, and I told you that they are even finding their way into Mexico, so they can at least find their way into the US and maybe make a living from there. Now, same thing is happening in other countries. The economic crunch is not only a Kenyan preserve, it's something that is biting every economy in the world. So what you're saying is that I think it's time we just work on the strategies that His Excellency the President has come up with. First, to ensure that production goes high. And I've seen some maize farmers talking about, okay, we are going to have a bumper this time, but we don't know what's going to happen if this kind of, sunshine or dry spell continues. Because according to them, they're saying that, they're trying to predict that things are not going to be the same in terms of the kind of, the amount of harvest that will be there in the next season.
Yes.
But you see, we are not even appreciating what has already taken place. First, as Kenyans, we should see, okay, so if we take care of the production, then it means the harvest is a bumper, and every Kenyan is going to have food on the table. So sometimes when we shift our focus towards the wrong things, we begin to see, the wrong images, and that is what is happening now. Somebody's focusing on La Nina instead of what is already there in the staple. So we just need to brace ourselves for tough times. It's not in Kenya alone. I was asking some gentlemen somewhere when petroleum went high from 109 to 169 and 170 and some areas 172 by August 9th, 2022. The reason was Ukraine war with Russia. The question is, has it ended? No. So how do you expect circumstances to change when the cause is still there? How do you expect to be healed when you have not even dealt with the symptoms? The causative agent. Yeah. So what you're saying is that the situation might continue. I know the situation is dire. It's actually getting worse, but it's never worst as long as we are able to cope with it. It means we're strong enough to see tomorrow. So I think Kenyans should just see from where their point of strength that yes, it has been like this, and we have thrived or we have survived. But it's time for us to shift our focus, begin to see what we can do as Kenyans to make things better and stronger. Strengthen the efforts of the government, and then we'll be able to accomplish.
To move on.
Yeah, to move on.
Now, we've also seen that we do have this issue to do with the same-sex debate ongoing, and the wife to the deputy president, that is Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, has really been against it. She's been stating that as a nation we are not ready for such. We have a culture to maintain. What would be your take immediately after the Supreme Court threw out Peter Kaluma's proposal?
Let me tell you. While we were making the Constitution in 2010, we had lots of bananas and oranges, flying around.
Yes.
and people were talking banana and orange and yes and no and baba amesema, Kibaki amesoma, mzungu ametoka Ulaya amekuja ameona ni mzuri. While the church was asking, and people who voted no, I being one of them, we were asking, gentlemen, why would you come with Article 46, talk about man and woman, then go to the next clause, talk about parties? So what is the sex, the gender of party? Because all parties in marriage, parties in marriage, parties in marriage. So what is the gender of the person regarded as party? Question number one. Question number two. Parliament shall enact a law, I think it's in clause 3, shall enact a law that protects marriages under religious law. This other law is, we have religious law, we have traditional law, and we also have personal law. Now, in your rightful mind and thinking, what is a personal law? It means I have nothing to do with your opinion, neither do I have anything to do with my wife's opinion. I can divorce her today and go for whatever I want. After all, she is not my wife. According to clause 3, 2, 3, 4, she is a party in my marriage. While we were insisting, why didn't you say a husband and a wife? Now that you've spoken about man and woman, have become now we're talking about marriage. Let's talk about husband and wife, husband and wife, husband and wife. Be very particular, because when you go to the law to argue a case, it's not about what you think ought to be right, it is what you have written. It is written, parties in marriage shall be protected, whether they are under religious law, traditional law, or civil law, or personal law. Read your constitution, it's there. Personal law. It is the entry point. And it was sneaked through. And it entered. So, what laws regulate the thought of a human being as an individual? That's the personal, personal, let's not try and see it any differently. It's me, the person, thinking like myself for myself.
Doing things the way you want.
And I think now I don't need a woman in my house. I think I can get some fella, some Johnny, some Jimmy, Yeah, that's the law. That's the law we made for ourselves. We said it's 20%. Yes, very little. We'll correct it. I remember I did my submissions in 2006 before Kiplagat, and I remember being the first person to condemn the panel sitting there for allowing South Africans to determine the kind of constitution we're going to have. And truly, we have been quoting, Krigler, whoever. And these people allowed same-sex marriage. They allowed abortion in their constitution and many other evil things in the constitution. South African constitution is what I'm talking about. And without fear of contradiction, that is how it is. Now, when you advise somebody who has allowed the same sex in his country to determine a kind of constitution you're going to have, what do you expect? Then you kill a constitution that was being made by Kenyans who are thinking culturally, morally, logically. You make a constitution that is for the people. They killed the so-called Bomas team that was meeting, and they gave it to some few experts. What would be the level of compromise?
High, of course.
Very high. Let me tell you, we have not even gotten there. We have the Muslims and the Qadi court. It is now a subordinate court, not just a council of elders.
Yes.
Yeah. While you call yourselves Christians, you can only go to the level of council of elders and negotiate as per the Bible up to that level. But in terms of the constitution, no, you just have to go through what they call the secular law. The secular law accommodates every type of mindset. Yeah, so don't call it Christian.
Comfortably.
Yeah.
Now, as we wind up, let's talk a little bit.
And coming back now to the same-sex thing, we have the Pope, who has already spoken about it. At some point, I remember Pope Francis came in with what we call the gospel of tolerance. Accommodate everybody as they are, regardless of who they are, accommodate them. Tolerance, tolerate them. Little did the people know until he spoke that, hey, it's time for you to condemn or criticize God's judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah. He must have made a mistake. Because when you uphold same-sex marriage as a Christian, it means God must have made a mistake in destroying Sodom and Gomorrah for same-sex. You understand? That is what he calls sodomy, Sodom and Gomorrah. So when you say reviving that kind of mindset that was there in Sodom and Gomorrah, I think the world is heading to a close. And Jesus Christ said, when you see these things, know that the end is nigh.
Now, let's come.
That's where we are right now.
Now, we've also seen Israel, just in a nutshell, we've seen Israel now at war with Hamas.
Yeah.
Now, and many are being killed. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli Prime Minister, insists that we are at war.
Yeah.
And we are not going to give up. We must end this.
Yes.
What would your take be? What might be the cause of all this?
Well, the other day when we were trying to, delve into some bit of eschatology, the end times and end times politics, the story of the Antichrist is real. He's yet to be unveiled. He's there. He's yet to be unveiled. When we were discussing the temple in Abu Dhabi, for all faiths, not all religions, all faiths, imani yoyote ile uko nayo, ukiwe unaamini pesa, shetani, kitu, nini, mutu, anything, will be granted some space in the temples, in the typification of what Jerusalem temple shall be when it's reconstructed. Because it shall be a temple for all, not just for the Judaists. But the Judaists shall have a portion somewhere, just the way they've done it in Abu Dhabi. There's a temple for the Christians, there's a temple for the Muslims, and there's a temple for the Christians, Judaists, and Muslims. United by one common thing. If you want to unite Christians, who would be the icon? Abraham or Jesus Christ?
Jesus.
Thank you. In this plan, it is Abrahamic temple. It is Abraham who unites them. Why? Because when you talk Abraham in Islam, you're good. You talk Abraham in the Judaists, you're good, the Jews. If you talk Abraham in Christians, the gullible Christians, they will push away Christ and accommodate Abraham. They will forget that Jesus Christ said, before Abraham was, I am. You get the point? Now, this is what is happening today. Jerusalem temple, the Palestinians have nothing to lose with Jerusalem temple currently. Even if, because it's actually, they have their mosque in the border, and if Jerusalem temple is just converted and made a city for all, according to the Palestinians, it's a win. But that shall happen. When the Antichrist shall come, at some point he shall say, no, peace. Now, Russia and China have been having a joint military drill, not this naval that you saw for the Ukraine war, but I'm talking about for Palestine. It started way early 2000. So that is where we are at. And the Israel story is just going to go on and on and on. Hamas, Israel will retaliate, fighting against Hamas, but Hamas is Russia, UK, countries that support Palestinians, liberation.
Yeah. Now we are also waiting to see how that will turn out. Remember, many have been left dead.
When they retaliate.
Yes, many have been left dead, with the statistics or other numbers showing that 300 from both sides. Just 3 days, such a big number of people have died.
Yes.
Now, well, that marks the end of Morning Live today. Many thanks for tuning in once again. My name is Samia Dika. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Israel.